One of the most viral games that was revealed almost exactly a year ago at GDC is Marvel 1943. Thank you guys for the super chats. We'll talk about those momentarily. Unless you throw $20, in which case it plays on stream. It plays the full text. But anyway, Marvel 1943. This was shown off at GDC. It is the next project from Amy Hennig, who is of Uncharted fame. If you don't know, she's the one that headed up Uncharted 1, 2, and 3, which are many people's favorite Uncharted games. And then she went off, was working on some Star Wars stuff that went nowhere and got canned, and it kind of bounced around a lot. But now they're making this. And this game, no matter what you say about it, the story trailer is gorgeous. And it was shown off as part of GDC because it's part of an initiative that they're doing with Unreal Engine 5.4, where they're showcasing the amazing technology. There's Amy, the legend. And you can see them actually demonstrating how these scenes work. Forgive the bitrate struggling. This all those triangles is like a nightmare for encoders like this. But anyway, you can see that they showcase some of the tools they're using for these environments, what is possible. And so it really seems that it's not even just being framed. It's literally being sold as a tech masterpiece demo thing, a showcase game. Now, there was another one of these back in the day. I swear I wasn't just trying to show you, a road. They were showing it to show like these dynamic textures and stuff that also affects meshes and all that. But with this, it's a game that looks gorgeous, no doubt, but it's never as simple as great graphics making a great game, right? If that was the standard, then the Order 1886, Horizon, like these games would be all 10 out of 10 masterpieces, right? It's not as simple as just graphics. And what we've not seen is gameplay and stuff. And we've also not seen anything else. They've been quiet for basically a year, even though it's slated for this year, which is always a little weird. When it's like, hey, they've announced this and it's supposed to be out this year. Where is it? What's going on? Well, during a recent interview, one of the voice actors behind Marvel 1943, Rise of Hydra, narrowed the game's release window and said, so this is Peyton, who plays its version of the Marvel hero Black Panther, disclosed that they're still working on it, but are thinking it will see the light around Christmas. We're still working. We're planning on 2025. We're thinking like a Christmas situation, but I'm so excited. So expecting Christmas. And this was during multi-con interview. So I'm not sure if he was supposed to say that, but that's always where the most fun comes from, is when a voice actor says something and it's like, oopsie. And then they get a slap on the wrist from the publisher who's like, you weren't supposed to say anything. So we'll see. Realistically, I think it gets delayed. That's just my sneaking suspicion personally, but time will tell. We've talked about it. We've talked about like what this could end up actually being. Realistically, I think that this is just one of those games that will be honestly, it's probably going to be like 5 hours long. I really think so. I think it's going to be basically a quick time event game. And that doesn't mean it will be like not worth trying, but I swear to God, if they charge like $70 for it and it's 4 hours long and mostly quick time events, I'm going to be like, this is what we're doing. But you know what? They have an opportunity to surprise us, because if they're able to maintain this level of quality and they also have some solid gameplay, we're in for a treat. I mean, this could be like a new standard graphically for Unreal Engine games, which would be awesome to see. Because whenever you raise the bar, it forces everybody to get their act together, right? So you want games that raise the bar. But historically, when we've seen games like this that look phenomenal, but there's not a lot of discussion or discourse about gameplay, you do have to wonder. This trailer was released in February of 2015. Do you feel old yet? Literally a decade ago. Over 10 years ago. On 2013 hardware. on a PlayStation. And I think, you know, other than the obvious like resolution limitations at the time, I think this game looks stunning even to this day. Even to this day, I think if you released a game that looked this good, it would be considered, yeah, it's one of the better games graphically this year. I feel like we're getting consistent releases even nowadays that don't look this good. So, and this is also the tragedy. Ready at Dawn, who made this, they were later bought out by Meta, and then Meta used them, or I think it was Oculus bought them, and then Meta bought Oculus, but whatever the order was. They were then forced to do a bunch of VR stuff, and they got pretty good at it. I think they did the Lone Echo games, which are some of the best VR games out there, but they were shut down. Ready at Dawn is gone now. But they had a bunch of like Santa Monica devs, a bunch of Naughty Dog devs, or rather a bunch of those devs that are there now. They've moved from Remedy or Ready at Dawn rather to those places. So a lot of the DNA from Order 1886 is now in these big games because they moved from this studio to those. But even this trailer, like they show some gameplay, they show some stuff, but the whole game was like 5, 6, 7 hours long, depending on what difficulty you were playing on and how good you were at it. And there just wasn't a lot there, but it was a set piece game. It was a tech demo game meant to show what was possible. And I think that this game actually influenced the industry in a lot of ways. It set the standard for this cinematic quality that people loved. And I think that was the interesting takeaway from the Order 1886. The game was roundly like dismissed and mocked. It was deemed, you know, unacceptable. It was deemed overpriced and all this, but there was a lesson learned that I think actually reflected a serious and I think good self-reflection on the part of Sony executives at the time. Imagine that, executives taking something positive away from a bad situation instead of just going scorched earth. And that was that they looked at it and they said, people love this trailer. People are very upset about the length of the Order 1886 because they liked what it had so much. They wanted more. And they took that and said, okay, how do we realistically give more of this cinematic quality, graphical fidelity, of this more cinematic storytelling? How do we do that while giving them more volume in the content? And then they took those lessons and they applied it to Santa Monica with God of War, to Naughty Dog with The Last of Us and The Last of Us Part 2, and then, of course, after this, Uncharted 4 even. And we saw it applied across their rosters. So they took lessons from the Order 1886, even if we never got a sequel, even if this studio ended up kind of going the way of the dodo. They still took something away from it. And I think that the Order 1886 really did influence the industry in a powerful and profound way, but not in the way maybe they were hoping, which was just to sell lots of copies and get a sequel that did really well. But, you know, it still influenced the industry, which is why I still to this day, see this? See this? Behind me in all these videos, I have the collector's edition statue from the Order 1886. It's also just a beautiful sculpt too. I mean, it's gorgeous and very unique. But I still have this to this day. I didn't order it at the time. I got it on eBay. It was unopened. And if I recall correctly, the story was that a lady, I think she was like breaking up with her boyfriend or husband or something, and he had bought it, or she had bought it for him or something. But basically it had sat in their garage for a decade and just they never done anything with it. And so she was deciding to sell it all off before anybody found out. She's like, I'm just getting rid of all this crap. I was like, okay, well, I'm glad to help you there. So anyway, the Order 1886 is one of those games that really impacted and influenced the industry long term. And I think there's a real chance, judging from the fidelity and everything on this trailer, I think there's a strong chance that we do see a similar influence from this game, where it could also push a lot of other studios and publishers to up their game graphically and in terms of fidelity and cinematic quality. But whether it ends up being the best video game remains to be seen. But I mean, you can look at it. It's got 7.9 million views. Some of that's probably paid media. I mean, they might have paid for some of those views to set it up as like an ad, a pre-roll ad or something on YouTube. But either way, I've heard a lot of people talk about it. A lot of people have seen it. Even those that are not following gaming closely know about this. And I think it shows there's interest in games that can deliver this level of fidelity and quality and cinematic quality. It's just whether you can turn that into a good video game at the same time that remains to be seen. But they intend to release this year still, and the voice actor's still saying that he's expecting Christmas-ish, which, I mean, who knows? Maybe if the game is only like 4 or 5 hours, releasing in Christmas might not be a bad idea. It's just one of the things you're playing while you're on Christmas vacation. You play it in an afternoon or evening and you call it good. Might not be a bad idea. The key is pricing. I mean, that's the key thing. If they're like, hey, transparently, this is a shorter, tighter experience. Think of it like a really long movie you get to play. And as a result, we're going to charge $20 for it. I think people would be like, okay, you're being transparent and clear. Okay. The problem with like the Order 1886 is that so often the studios know that that's going to be a problem for some people. And so they just try to hide it, not talk about it until the reviews come out, and reviews are like, hey, the game is really short, just so you know, like really, really short. And then it causes drama because it feels like it was being hidden from players, because it kind of was. And it's just unnecessary drama. Just be transparent, you know? That's the key takeaway. So anyway, we'll see probably more of Marvel 1943 either at GDC, which is coming in like a week and a half, 2 weeks, whatever it is, you know, on the anniversary of when they showed it off. I think that's very possible. We see it there. And then maybe we see like preview impressions or press impressions at Summer Games Fest or something like that. I think that would be realistic, but we'll see. No way it's $20, $50 minimum. Yeah, I think $20, to be clear, is wishful thinking on my part, but allow me to wish, please. Let me have this, please.
He took my thing.